Welcome everyone to the penultimate round of the Under 11 Nationals 2026. We have Advik Agrawal on the left and Sattwik Swain on the right. A handshake there, and the game has begun. Advik is currently the top seed of the tournament. He's on 8 out of 9. He's rated 2376, while Sattwik is rated lower than him. He's around 2000 rated. He's on 7.5 points. E4 by Advik. And let's see what Sattwik plays here. He goes, he adjusts his pieces. And this game is very interesting because it's the penultimate round and generally the champion of the tournament gets decided. C5. We have the Sicilian, knight to F3. And Sattwik plays E6. He pushes his pawn to E6 here. And now Advik plays the open Sicilian with pawn to D4. Sattwik takes. We have knight takes D4. And now A6 is one of the main moves. There's also knight C6. Let's see what Black plays. He goes knight C6. He's playing the Taimanov variation. Knight C3. No, he goes bishop F4. Very interesting move. And something that maybe Sattwik may not have prepared so well. Knight to F6 played. But now it's possible to get the game into the Sveshnikov territory because now you're attacking the C7 square. E5 played. And bishop goes to G5. Now, bishop C5 is a very active and interesting move. But Sattwik goes for D6. And this allows, he plays knight c3 and transposes back into main line of Sveshnikov, but actually he could have taken on f6 and played knight d2, and that would have given a different flavor to the position. So knight 1 c3, a6 and knight to a3 played. He goes b5, knight to d5, quickly played there by Advik. Bishop e7. And he takes on f6. This is all mainline stuff now. Bishop takes f6. Let's see who's better prepared. Pawn to c3 in order to reroute your knight from c2 to e3. Sattwik castles here. Black has the bishop pair, but white has control on the d5 square. He goes rook b8. And now bishop comes to e2. I guess for Sattwik the best move is bishop g5, keeping an eye on the e3 square, and he plays bishop g5. Castles. And bishop comes out to e6. We have bishop to g4, offering a trade of bishops. I guess queen d7 makes a lot of sense because if you take, I want to take back with the pawn, kicking your knight away. He goes queen d7, h3 played. Wow. So Advik is like, if you take here, I'll take with the queen and I'm happy to have traded. a5 played. And a3, stopping b4. But black can now clamp down on the light squares with a4, knight a5, knight c4. He goes g6 first. And Advik takes here. Although now fe6, and I like Sattwik's position actually. Because the main weakness always in the Sveshnikov is the d5 square. It's no longer weak now. The knight can go back, but oh, he goes queen g4. That was his idea. But can I simply drop my bishop back to h6? Yes, bishop h6 played. I'm really liking the way Sattwik is treating this position. Rook a d1 played, and now a cool move can be rook f7, defending the queen, threatening to take the knight on d5. He goes rook b7 in the other direction, and now knight d3. You have to save your knight. He comes back. Black's position looking nice. Rook f4. He's now entering in. Queen comes back to e2. And do we have the move b4 here? Well, he goes queen e7. That's not a great move. He should have taken either on e4 or played maybe b4 was one possibility. But he went queen e7. And now Advik is a bit confused as to why did Sattwik not take the pawn. Suddenly Advik's position looks really nice. If he goes queen d3, yes, he plays queen d3. He defends the pawn on e4. He looks to be really well placed because d6 is hanging. If you go rook d7, b5 is hanging. Sattwik goes back, bishop f8. It's not a move you make happily, for sure. And Advik finds this beautiful move, knight d5. He's found this tactic with a fork. So you have to take it. But now queen takes d5 and queen takes c6. He would have won a pawn now. Queen f7 and queen takes c6. So white is a pawn up, has a completely dominating position with knight e3, knight d5 coming up. But Sattwik keeps fighting. He goes rook c7, queen takes b5, Advik takes another pawn, although queen b6 would have been quite accurate, keeping a bigger edge, but rook b7 can now be played by Sattwik to attack the b2 pawn. Well, Sattwik goes and plays rook b7. He attacks the queen and the pawn. You can take on a5 as well. But he comes back, queen e2. And now rook takes b2. So black does get some activity flowing. Although in reality this position is quite bad. Rook b1 played, good move by Advik. And now queen comes in. He trades the rooks. Queen takes. And now you can see like a3 is weak, c3 is weak. The knight is a bit soft. So queen c4 check. He comes out of the pin and he's ready to play knight e3, knight d5 maybe. And rook f7. So knight comes to e3, looking at the d5 square. And although the material is even, in fact black is now a pawn up, was pawn down, now it's equal. It still feels like white is the one in charge because of the better minor piece. Sattwik is known for his defense and staunch defense, never give up spirit. So I'm sure he's going to fight it out. Queen comes to b2. And now king goes to h2. And Sattwik once again has a choice what to do. He would love to take the pawn on f2, but actually it's a deadly discovered attack. And both the players getting excited. Get up, a4 played. Sattwik is pushing his pawn. He wants to make a queen. If you take on a4, I'll take here. a4, queen takes a4. This is happening. Rook takes f2, rook takes f2, and queen takes f2. Well, although it looks like white has a dominating knight, but black is solid. The king is safe. The bishop is not so well placed, but that's not the only factor. Queen c8 played here by white, and queen f7, just defending everything. You don't want to be losing such positions. And so pawn to c4 played, queen f2, bringing the queen in, and he goes queen d8, waiting for what Sattwik will do here. King g7, and we have pawn to c5. It's a very interesting pawn sacrifice. I think you must take it. He takes it, and maybe his idea is a check on c7 and take the e5 pawn. So queen c7 check, queen f7. He took the pawn on e5 with a check. King g8, now check. King g7, and he goes knight d7, check again. The king goes back, and now knight takes pawn is possible. It's a free pawn, but instead he gives a check. King g7, and knight comes back to g4. So while Advik is trying to make inroads with the best combination that is known on the chessboard, with a queen and a knight, black's position is still very solid. It's not so easy to beat black, especially giving this chance to give a check and letting the king come in the line of fire. Check. And he goes king g7. Now pawn to push to e5 and queen e6. Well, both players banging the clock loudly. Queen b7. And now Advik here plays his queen to c7, and he tells Sattwik that I want to play on no draw, because I believe Sattwik had offered a draw, and I think black offering a draw here makes sense because black is under pressure. King f8, and Advik is going after this pawn. He's like, if I can get this pawn, that would be amazing. And so Sattwik now tries to get a perpetual. Knight takes c4, queen check, and both are apologizing to each other for hitting the clock a bit too hard. Very cute kids. King g1, and now a check. Now very important to play your king to h2, because he goes king f1, and that is a blunder. That is a huge blunder. Now look at them carefully. Sattwik realizes it's a blunder, and he gets excited because he sees bishop c5, and Advik gets worried, and he's like, okay, I'm ready for a draw. And Sattwik is like, no, 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 wait, you made your move, so now I'm going to make a move, and then we will agree to a draw. And Advik is like, you make your move and agree to a draw, and he's like, well, let me make my move. He plays bishop c5, the winning move. f2 is a mate and c4 is hanging. And now, all of a sudden, Advik is like, you offered a draw to me, and I'm just accepting it. But Sattwik is like, let's pause the clock, let's call the arbiter. And this is where arbiter makes all the difference in chess. There's a disagreement, and so he said, like, when the king is on g1, I gave a check and offered a draw. He played king f1, declined the draw, and the arbiter says once the move is made, the draw offer is null and void. And so bishop c5 played, and now king e1, but you lose the knight. Advik pauses the clock to change the score sheets. What a bit of drama there with the draw. And Sattwik, who's rated close to 400 points below Advik, is now winning the game. Queen check, king d1, he gives another check. King goes up to c2, but now you drop this pawn with a check. Now, notice that this position is not super easy to win. Why? Because firstly, you are down a pawn. Bishop and queen, to coordinate them to mate is very tough. So to be able to make a move like queen e4 speaks volumes of Sattwik's talent. Because he keeps the pawn defended, he keeps the queen centralized, and he's not afraid of any check that would drop the bishop. So goes king d7. And this is the thing, this is the important thing to note. You need your king into the game if you want to checkmate this king. Bishop e7 played. King b3. Waiting. Queen check. I do feel that this is tricky to win at. Let's see how Sattwik does it. First a check on b5. King a2. Maybe check on a6 and bring the queen to e6. That might be the idea. So check, king b2. And now queen e6 played. He goes queen g7. The king comes up to c6. And the king is coming in. King d5 even. I guess Advik has seen that if queen takes e5, I'll take on g6. This would be a draw actually. So king e4. He's moving his king in. While the bishop and the queen make the white queen not do much, Advik is coming in with his king. Queen check. King e2. He goes queen c2 check. King e1, there is bishop b4 check, I believe. So king f1, and he goes in, and it's a forced mate here on d1 or f2, and Advik resigns the game. Sattwik wins, and I think it's really changed everything in the tournament, because Sattwik was half a point behind Advik on 7.5 out of 9. With this win, he reaches 8.5. Meanwhile, Sharberto, who had Advik really on his heels with just half a point difference, now has a very safe cushion after this 10th round. Well, for Advik, who came to this tournament with quite a huge success, making 2 IM norms back to back. this would not be the best of results, but a huge one for Sattwik Swain, who has managed to win this game. And what I was thoroughly impressed by was the way in which he converted after he won a piece. It was almost without any real hiccups. Kudos to both these youngsters, and I hope to see more of them in the days to come.
Sattwik, a very crucial victory for you.
Yeah, but I did not deserve to. It was equal and somewhat I was also lost.
Yeah, at some point, I think when he played knight d5, right? You did got into this minus position, but in endgame, what exactly happened? Where did he miss something?
Actually, he gave me some counter play, like bishop. It was a point bishop earlier. Now it was now after some moves, it was very good, and there was a position like it's like a copy like this. And there were some pawns here, like this, because you cannot move the knight.
And okay, it's checkmate and knight is fine.
But there were some pawns,
Yeah.
but this was the
main key highlight. Okay, anyways, crucial victory for you you are still in the run for the top 3 places. So all the best for your upcoming rounds.